Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope we're doing well, and today I'll be doing a movie review of the film CODA, which recently won Best Picture at the Oscars, which, of course, many of you wouldn't know because the Will Smith story has dominated everything coming from that Oscars, but also because the Oscars have really lost any sense of relevancy for many, many years now, and any sense of importance. However, I do want to point out that CODA is a film I think should be talked about and should be seen by all, as I honestly believe it is a beautiful film that most people would actually really enjoy. So before going any further, though, into my thoughts about the film, breaking things down, please make sure you smash that like button, not at that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with that bell notification turned on. That way you know every time a video or live stream goes live on the channel. So CODA is a film actually based off of another work, La Famille Bélier, which is a 2014 film. And I honestly think that this is a movie that really should be seen by all people because it deals with a topic. And this is something where I feel like, you know, Hollywood and production companies, when they get things right, when they kind of understand, oh, here are stories that don't get a lot of attention or don't get, really any way of being presented in a way that people can actually be able to watch it and consume it, to be able to actually understand the lives of others, that this is the kind of story that needs to be told. I mean, for those that don't know, CODA stands for Child of Deaf Adults, which just means that it is a hearing child who is born of adults who are both that of the deaf community. And so I think that that's something that typically, again, I had never heard of that term before. I'd only ever heard of it used, of course, in the musical connotation, which is one of the most beautiful things about this film, because this film not only deals with the actual phrase and the actual terminology of CODA for this child, right, of a couple who are both deaf, but also because it deals with this sense of music and the power of music, not only in the lives of the adults, especially there's this great scene with the father of the family blaring gangster rap, and the reason why is because he can feel the bass in his car, and so therefore he doesn't understand how loud the music is being played because he can't hear it, and yet he likes the vibrations of it, and so it causes this really great really funny scene at one point in the film. But anyway, I just wanted to say right off the bat that I do think that this is a movie done right. I think that this is, again, a type of story done right. And what I like a lot about this film, even more so, is the fact that after I watched it, I actually got to watch this movie over the weekend with my family, as one of my in-laws actually early on in her career actually taught the deaf community and actually, learned basic sign language. And so it was one of those things that I thought, was a really cool way for us to kind of be able to, bond as a family. And it was interesting for us being able to see these actors being able to portray sign language. And of course, you do have two deaf actors that are actually, or actually a few deaf actors that are actually in the film, obviously doing sign. And it was interesting just to hear the different stories about, how much of it was based on ASL, how much of it was slang, how much of it was this or that, and it was just very interesting to see. And not to mention, it was also where a lot of the comedic elements were able to come into the film. And this film is really funny. Like, this film actually has a lot of really funny jokes. In fact, one of the funniest jokes is done in sign, and it's a joke that's so funny that if I were to say it out loud, it would just be so inappropriate. And yet, and this is something I even mentioned after the film. I said, if someone had said this joke out loud, I would have been disgusted by it. I would have, cringed at it. And yet the way it was done in sign, for some reason, it just seemed to kind of create that disconnect enough to where it was able to actually be really funny. It wasn't, it didn't come across nearly as raunchy as it actually is. And so I thought that was very interesting how they were able to actually, be able to do that. And obviously a lot of that goes to the cast of this film. So not only do you have, of course, the daughter, who's played by Emilia Jones, who does an amazing job. Apparently spent 9 months learning sign language for this film, so kudos to her for putting the work in for it. But also you have Eugenio Gonzalez Derbez, who I have always, when I worked at a movie theater, there were several films that came out while I was working at the movie theater, and there were always films that just, like, the posters just made me cringe. So things like Instructions Not Included and Overboard, and I was like, okay, I don't really have, this guy's funny. this guy is really, really funny, and he does an amazing job in this film. And I will say the acting in this film is absolutely top-notch. You know, whether it is the lead in Emilia Jones, I thought that she did a phenomenal job. Eugenia Derbez does a great supporting role. Of course, you know, he won Troy, Michael Kotzer won actually an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. I thought that he was probably one of the standouts. Like, he did such an amazing job. It was so great just to see his reactions and just to be able to see the heart that he was able to put into his role, not just through his sign, but also just through everything. I mean, his eyes really told the story in a lot of the scenes that he was in, so he did a great job. You also had, Ferdia Walsh-Peelo, who was a bit interesting, and oh my goodness, okay, so yes, I was like, this guy does seem familiar, so just now making the connection that he was in Sing Street, so that makes sense as to why he did such a good job, because he was amazing in Sing Street. He does a great job in this film as well. It does a really, really good job, and so, again, another very solid talent there. Marley Martin, probably one of the best-known deaf actresses that works in the industry. She's been in a ton of other films. Also, apparently, she also had won an Oscar back in 1986 for Children of a Lesser God as well. So again, a huge, as far as casting is concerned from amongst the deaf community, they have in this film, and every single one of them does a phenomenal job. Every single one of them just does so great, and it's just, again, it's one of those things that you don't see a whole lot. You don't see it really presented a whole lot. You oftentimes see more so people pandering to the deaf community than you actually see from the deaf community themselves, which is why I think I appreciate this film. Like, for instance, you have in the the current administration, for instance, every single press conference, there's always someone who's doing the sign language. But like, when you actually have and get to see actors that actually are part of the deaf community, and you actually get a story that is about the deaf community and is about their experiences and is actually getting it from their perspective, and also getting it from the perspective of a child who has her entire life basically had to have been an adult because she's had to take care of them in the outside world, because the outside world does not understand, does not know how to communicate, because most people don't know sign language. And so I thought that there were just a lot of really great layers to this film about just not just family, but also these connections to the outside world. And there were a lot of these different things that really you could find in the film. And one of the things that I really appreciated, kind of getting back to one of the points I made earlier, was that the director of this film, who didn't even get nominated for Best Director, which I thought was interesting, and again, the Oscars don't matter anymore, but she, in an interview that she does, that was one of the packages that was attached to it on Apple TV, was talking about how this film is about family. This film is about all of these key messages that everyone will be able to connect to. However, it's a story that is one that is unique in its own way. And I appreciate that a lot, because that's the way that film should be. Film should be able to be connected with these basic themes, right? With themes and different things like that people can actually understand. Whereas modern day Hollywood focuses more so on different political elements, right? Focuses more so on identity politics and all that nonsense. And it really just does, I feel, really take away a lot from a lot of the stories that are being told. Whereas this film, it's being based on principles and based on ideas that are universal in nature, while at the same time being able to offer a unique expression and unique experience as well. So the acting of this film is fantastic. The story, I think, is actually really well done also. Again, I thought that it was really, really funny. There were several moments where we were just laughing so much, just even together as a family. And it was just a really amazing experience. Cinematography, I thought, was pretty solid as well. I will say that if I had any criticism of the film, one of the supporting actresses in the film, who plays her really good friend, I wasn't really too crazed about. I just, the writing of her character was a little bit rough, especially since she has a relationship with her brother in the film, and her brother, it's indicated that he is, probably 21 at least, because he's at a bar drinking, and whereas her best friend is a senior in high school, so 17, 18, they have a relationship with each other, so that's definitely very awkward. Just because of the age difference, it just, again, was very, very weird to say the least. And then also the brother actor, I do think that there was some inconsistency with the writing of his character. There were points in the film where he's very rude and very abrasive and just very mean to his sister, and then all of a sudden the next scene, it's like he's fully supportive of her as well. So I think some of the lines were maybe too, I understand what the brother's character in the film, in the context of the film, was trying to do in that moment, but I think that the lines themselves were so severe where I was like, if a family member actually told me that would probably sever my relationship with that person. So I don't think really that really works, especially when just a few moments later, you're going to have it in a much more connected way, and you're going to have them being essentially, back in this connection with no real, apology or no real way of coming together. So anyway, this does feature, and it comes through Apple TV Plus. Again, Apple did not actually produce this film, but acquired the distribution rights to this film. And they paid $25 million for it, even though the budget was only around $10 million. And I will say, CODA was a fantastic film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, it has all of those elements to it: solid direction, solid writing, except for those, couple of grievances that I have. And then I think that the acting and just the general overall story, I think, is what is worth seeing this film for. Don't care about the Oscars. Don't care about how it did at the Oscars. Don't care about any of that nonsense, because it doesn't matter. The film is a film. The film is a wonderful story that I think should be seen by a lot of people. I don't think necessarily that this is going to be a film that you're going to say, hey, every year I'm going to want to watch this film, right? It's not that type of entertainment value that some people, prefer in their movies. It is definitely a drama. There definitely are great comedy, great comedic elements to this film. And it is definitely one where it's about an hour 45 minutes. So it's not overly long either. However, I can see why some people would say, yeah, I liked it, but it was a feel-good movie. I don't really necessarily want to see it again. And I think that is a valid criticism. I think that is a valid reason for someone maybe to not be a huge fan of it. But I thought it was fantastic. I loved, again, almost every single second of the film. And so I'm going to give this film an A-. I think that it is just so solid. It is definitely one of the best films of 2021. If I had to go and redo my list, this would definitely be probably in the top 3 for my favorite films of 2021. And it is a movie that if there's ever a special release 4K or anything like that, I would actually totally pick it up, because I would love to find more behind the scenes about it. And also, I think that one of the elements too that might be underlooked is the fact that they do a lot of fishing in this movie. So they actually, the main characters, their main job is they're fishing. And they are actually doing the work. It seems like I love when films are shot that way, where you see actors actually doing work and have to learn skills. So not only does the main actress learn sign language, for months and months and months, but then you have the actual actors themselves, in the deaf community, and her also working and also learning these basic elements of this working class community, and of working class concerns and of working class problems, because one of the issues that they deal with in the film is being just overcharged, or rather not getting enough for the work that they're putting in to it. And I think that that's a great comment, great commentary about just small businesses like that. And just, again, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, let's talk about this little small fishing community. And I think it does it in a way where it doesn't hit you over the head with any political messaging, and it just tells a really great story. So I know I've been rambling for a bit. Great film, though. Highly recommend. Available on Apple TV Plus. It is also getting a theatrical release, wider theatrical release, because, of course, of its win. But what are y'all's thoughts about CODA? Have you seen CODA? I think, again, it is a solid film, well worth the watch, well worth your time. And so if you have Apple TV, or if you get a device or anything where you can get a free trial at Apple TV, I would say that this is one of those things that you should definitely check out, because it's great. It really is great. But let me know your thoughts about the film in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button, loud that fire button over on Odyssey. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my April Patreon, Subscribestar, and Locals members. Starting off with Patreon with animation commentator Brandon, let's go Brandon, Brian P., Christopher Bowman, Father Christopher Miller, Hail to you Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Harold Francis, Hymir Ari Hymeson, Inflamed Wood, Jacob from Holland, Jeff Toon, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Gomer Kyle 79, Laura, the Modern Major General Story, Mike Jackson, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mondo Spieler, Mr. Peabody, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Priscilla Hall, Rosella Allen, Stan Andrian, Miss Martin Muses, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, and Tina B., the Empress of the Universe. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Patreon. And also to my Subscribestar peeps, Matt317, Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, Nosferatu Gatsu, Stand 4, John B., Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alice McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss, J-Rod the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. And also a huge shout out to my Locals members, starting off with Kara Tharp, K Tharp 56. Also, UAB, Mad Dog, Mike Jackson, Robert Barnes, and also a huge support as well to Brett D90. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Locals. Thank you again to everyone for supporting the channel. Please, if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, go ahead and check out the top link at the video description. It is my Willow link, as I like to describe it, and it brings you to a link tree where you get access to all of these different locations, as well as all of the various social media platforms that you can follow me on. If you join at the Citizen of Asgard level, you get your name shouted out at the end of every single live stream and video. Army of Asgard level gets you that, plus you get access to a giveaways channel that I have on Discord. If you ever don't have access to that giveaways channel, please contact me. I do send out the link to the Discord and with the instructions on it at the beginning of every single month. But if you don't have access to that giveaways channel where I'm giving away 4Ks and Blu-rays and all that kind of stuff, as much as I possibly can give away is available there. Please just reach out to me and I will gladly walk you through the process to make sure you get access to that giveaways channel. And again, that is, Army of Asgard level, whether you be on Patreon, Subscribestar, or on Locals. Also, if you are the keeper of the Bifrost level, you get access to all of that. Plus, you get access to a podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger. We try and do it once or twice a month. I think we're going to try and do it twice this month to make up for some miscommunication that we had last month. So be on the lookout for that, and look out for those podcast Q&A posts that are always available on the Patreon main page, the Subscribestar main page, on the YouTube side of things as well. The YouTube community tab, you'll always find the podcast Q&A there, and also on the Locals page as well. And if you join at the Chosen of Valhalla level, the highest of the levels, you get access to all of that. Plus, if it's your first month, you get a free t-shirt, any t-shirt you want from my Teespring, my TeePublic, whichever one you want to get it from. You just let me know the size, location I'm sending it to, color, that kind of stuff. You get it sent to you. Plus, you get to be featured once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where we all come together and just talk about movies and really anything the Chosen want to talk about, and it is a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you all very much for your love and for your support. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.